Resident Evil Requiem. I have already beaten this game twice. First was my initial playthrough and the second one was my insanity run. And I had a blast of a time. I had so much fun in fact that I decided that this is going to be the first game that I'm gonna get all of the achievements for. Now you may ask, I am on PC playing on Steam. Why am I saying in the title that this is gonna be a platinum? And my only excuse is I ain't paying $900 for a PS5 Pro. Do you understand? And also I just think platinum is just sounds better and it's probably better for YouTube clicks. So yeah. I only need 5 achievements to get the platinum quotation marks. First is Grace and Goliath, which I need to defeat Shunk as Grace. The second one is You Little Rascal, destroy every Mr. Raccoon memoriam, which I'm only one off from completing this one. Then Minimalist, complete the main story without Grace using the blood collector. Never touch the stuff, complete the main story without using herb or med injectors. And lastly, Speed Demon, which is of course completing the main story before 4 hours. So, equipped with infinite ammo, I know, I am sorry, Fun Police, if you hate this, that I'm using infinite ammo, I apologize, okay? Let me just have some fun. So, with infinite ammo, let's see if I can do it in one run. First is the intro, and this part basically never changes. You meet the policeman who is on crack. What? What? The most difficult enemy on Insanity difficulty, but I am able to escape it, and we move on to the Leon's part where he's running through the streets, gunning down enemies, but now with the Requiem. There's like 19 casualties and 27 people dead, but Leon did his job neutralizing the enemies. Also, there is like a traffic jam, I don't know what that whole thing is about, but we move on to Grace, where she wakes up after getting choked out, and we have to escape, and we basically have to navigate through this puzzle-like room where we're getting chased by a Discord mod that is afraid of light. So by using that to our advantage and being sneaky beaky like, we're able to get the fuse and open the gate and run out. Meanwhile, Leon goes to the hospital to find a cure for his infection, but after seeing how much examination costs in America, he crashes out and destroys them and asks for a second opinion physically. That didn't even make sense, but we're continuing with that. And then we move on to the Grace section, which is one of the 2 long sections. One is of course for Leon and the other one is for Grace, where I don't waste much time and instantly go to butcher the chef that caused so much trauma for me in my first playthrough. After destroying the chef, I continue my path of warfare with the Requiem and get the first quartz. Also, while I'm talking about this, if you're trying to beat the game on Insanity, I do recommend you going this hallway and using one of your Requiem bullets to get a triple kill. And after of course killing the 3 enemies in the corner, I run up the stairs and meet the Chunk, where swiftly with a few Requiem bullets I kill the Chunk and get my first achievement. Also, while I'm up there, I kill the singing lady and the surgeons lying on the ground to get the corrosive and get the second quartz. I also collect some coins along the way and get some steroids because health increases in this game are kinda useless, especially on Insanity. But when you're on the Never Touch the Stuff achievement run, it's a great way to heal without losing the ability to gain this achievement. Second tip with Grace is when you actually get the level 3 ID card, there's 4 zombies that get released, so you can use your second Requiem bullet and shoot all of them because they line up perfectly. This is a very good usage of your Requiem bullet because otherwise this is gonna be very difficult to transport Emily to the 3rd quartz puzzle. I also get a stabilizer with some bonus coins because why not make my damage higher and accuracy better, you know, it's just a plus. And after some more blasting, the girl gets kidnapped by the Discord mod, so Grace has to to go after her, not maybe because of the Emily at least as for the player, but we need the quartz. After Leon wakes up from getting choked out, I don't know if he liked it or not, he moves on to fight the Chunk, but with the infinite ammo, it's piece of cake. After a few minutes, Chunk just explodes and dies, which there is a chance that they explode and don't die. What the fuck am I talking about? When we're back playing as Grace in the cellar, because we have infinite ammo, I just shoot the defenseless people sitting on the ground because I know they're gonna stand up in the future and attack me, so to not have any problems in the future, I deal with them now. And honestly, this whole part with infinite ammo requiem is just so easy that all I'm gonna say is I got all the 3 batteries, I used them, and we escaped with Emily. After popping in the 3rd quartz that we got when we escaped with the girl, we go to the outside, where a crippled man needs a key, which we happily oblige and give up our girl into his protection, which is kinda weird when you don't know a stranger, but I guess you gotta trust them. And we go in, and this sequence is another one where it's more like a cinematic thing. There's literally nothing happening, there's just blood flowing everywhere. So we get a key, run, but the helicopter, of course this is a horror game, struggles to get up, and we basically instantly crash, and of course the black guy dies again in a Resident Evil game. What a surprise. Then we switch that back to Leon, where he is just in a perfect spot to help us, but this is where we get our 2nd achievement, because without the help of the special books that show the location, I would have never found this. But there is the final raccoon miniature that you can shoot, which is quite obscure, at least it felt for me. But here it is, the 2nd achievement unlocked out of the 5. Then we have some cool trick shot snipes, which actually didn't happen, but I wanna feel cool, so let me have the moment. And then we fight the average American citizen. Because again, I have infinite ammo, this is not too much of a struggle and it's quite manageable, and he goes down quite easily. The same can be said with a Shadow Ghost boss fight, where infinite ammo again just deletes this boss and there's not even really a puzzle, you just run and destroy them, and yeah.
Come on, open.
Now we move on to the 2nd part of the campaign, which is now the Leon's campaign, which with infinite ammo is gonna go over much quicker, so let's not waste any more time. First of all, we fight this giant spider. When you have the requiem, you realize how quickly you can delete this boss on the standard difficulty, which is crazy. After killing the spider, we move on where we need to use the generator, and basically we need to get to the other side where there's a bunch of zombies. But if you're speedrunning the game like I am trying to do, what you can do is just shoot the ring that's holding the box and then jump up, and none of the enemies can be fast enough to catch you. So you just run past all of them and then you're done. And after that, nothing really interesting happens. We destroy another Blisterborn, and then we destroy some more innocent lives that were just chilling because we needed the fuses to get them to open the gate. Then I absolutely deleted the chainsaw raccoon zombie without using a chainsaw, just unloaded my whole mag into him. The guy was basically non-existent from all those bullets. Then we got all the detonator parts, because who cares what I did during that, why does it matter? And we explode the gate and we have another confrontation with Victor Gideon. After another traffic incident, Leon heads to the RPD, which actually nothing there happens. There's a lot of cool stuff. If you are a fan of the older games, or maybe even the remakes like 2 or 3, then there's cool stuff to see. But other than that, there's really nothing much. The Tyrant is kinda scary, but he's no problem. But there is a problem, and that's the only part of Resident Evil 9 that I don't like, because this part only works once, and on every other playthrough it's boring, which is the memory sequence, where you have to play as a girl and hide in the scripted areas, and it's fine. But for the love of God, why do we have this bug where these two girls get stuck in the doorway and you have to go back and hide again for them to move, otherwise you cannot progress, which is really annoying. But you know, when knowing what to do, you kinda can get through it quickly, and compared to how good the whole game is for me, it's a small price to pay. Then we have one of the best fights in the game, the Tyrant fight, which is, even with infinite ammo, has so much health that it's still a really enjoyable fight, and he's a really quite challenging fight compared to the others, so I had a blast. Where I didn't have a blast is Bland 43, because the guy got blasted by the Requiem and was a total pushover, though that bastard did hit me once, which will come into effect later. And we now move on to the final part of the game, which is the arc, where the police agents misidentify Leon as black and they start blasting, so we have to fight back. And all I'm gonna say is, they're not like Star Troopers that miss every shot. You're gonna get lasered and aimbotted by these guys because they have perfect plans, perfect strats, aimbot, and one-shot potential. And there's this one dumbass shield guy that's really annoying. And this is where we get into the biggest problem with the not use healing items run. The commander cannot be blasted. You need to use the melee, and because the melee cannot really get upgraded, you are stuck with quite a long fight, and he has one of the toughest movesets in the whole game. And I was basically one shot, so I took a beating for like good 20 minutes from this guy, or something like that. I only have bad experiences. He basically slapped my ass. But after a lot of attempts, I was able to overcome this dude.
Make no mistake, nothing will stand in my way. Complete this mission.
Shit, not good.
Let's go! Holy shit, I hope I can still do this one at like 1 HP, but holy shit, this guy is strong. Ah. But this guy is on like crack. I don't know what are they feeding him, but I got flabbergasted by how hard this was. I wasn't expecting the challenge out of nowhere. And this is where, after killing the commander, we meet Zeno, which is a Wesker from Timu, which, if you don't watch cutscenes, and if you don't watch cutscenes, you probably don't read, you won't even know that this guy exists, because yeah, he's the coolest motherfucker in town, but we would never fight him. And Leon puts some resistance and gets absolutely slapped, and Grace has to threaten to off herself to save Leon's life, which is crazy but an interesting idea, which gives enough time to Leon to just use his Requiem escape. I don't know how this man's hand hasn't come off from shooting that gun. Then we have a really cool moment where Grace asks how Leon is doing, and his answer is,
Me? I feel like $1 million.
the man 5 seconds later falls down dead. Well, I faked you out again. He's still breathing, but he's close to dying. And we switch back to Grace because, of course, now the virus has gotten to the 4th stage or the 3rd stage, where we have to play as Grace because Leon is basically useless, which I don't think is true, but you know, whatever. And with Grace, I thought at first, with my strategy for beating this game, I thought I'm gonna do this part silently, being scared that I'm not gonna be able to finish the game in 4 hours, which I decided to be risky and go for it. I did get bitch slapped by one of the lickers. This is where my steroids comes into clutch, because I was able to use it to get back to full health, and from then on I was just destroying, mowing down enemies and not losing much HP. Then I got the key. With that key, I got one of the red orbs. I was able to get the white orb, and the dew balls went into their respective chambers, and we just opened the door where there's only final part left as Leon, which now his sickness is part of the gameplay, which is kind of bad for us, but I was able to basically kill most of the enemies because they didn't need to be meleeed. There was some clutch movement though in the final phase when you're going back. There was some struggles with the part where there's a lot of lickers, and then my guy Leon just gets double sick while normal zombies come out of the chambers, and you just kind of destroy them because it's not that bad with grenades. And this limping Leon, and after that whole fight there's only one final fight, which is not Zeno but Victor Gideon that one-shot Zeno after Zeno stupidly just injects himself with the antiviral. And then we fight the final boss fight, which is harder than it looks because of my HP, so I die a couple of times even in the second phase, which is much easier, but after some small struggles I am able to beat the game. And after beating the game, I finished the game with a time of 2 hours 58 minutes and 48 seconds, which means I got all the 3 achievements and I got my platinum on the game. I say it's pretty impressive. Now before you boo, I know I used infinite ammo, so I cannot be too happy with the performance, but all I'm gonna say is this is probably, if I not decide to do one more video, the last video on Requiem. But this game, I had a blast. I think it's a top 3 game for me, minimum in the franchise, but honestly in the games overall. It's been a long time since I had this much fun playing a game. And it shows because I never fully complete games, like getting all the achievements, and this one was the exception. Now, it's because I would say from all the games I've seen, this is probably the easiest one to get all the achievements in, but it wasn't even difficult because it was really fun. So yeah, this has been my Resident Evil Requiem all achievements run, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.